Now this makes a lot more sense why so many people were getting the jab. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. So I've been wondering about cable news TV for a little while. I think it's been at least 10 years since I've had cable. And my parents still have it, and I know some people around, I don't know my age, but and definitely younger, but you know, like Gen Xers who still have cable, and I'm just like, why? I understand that there's definitely a huge cost to, you know, get every single service, and you know they're supposedly cracking down on password sharing, but I don't know. So let's hear from PBD and see what he's got to say.
Today we're going to talk about the death of cable media. It's been slow, but it's now accelerating, and 3 things that are holding it back from going out of business today. And if one of them pulled out, cable would be done within seconds. Okay, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. Yesterday, I'm doing Russell Brand's podcast, and him and I are talking. He's grown now into having millions and millions of followers, and this guy was a former A-lister. Oh, not the shirt, you know, inside of you, if you know what I'm talking about, from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Inside of you, inside of you. Oh, great song. And I've just been rewatching Ballers. He actually does a great job as the esports guy, or not, the action sports guy.
He's an A-lister. He's now a small media company getting tens of millions of eyeballs on a monthly basis. So imagine an A-lister and a former insurance guy, finance guy, start media companies, and now they're getting more eyeballs than some traditional mainstream cable. This doesn't make any sense. How big of a disruption is it? They should have never allowed guys like us to get into it, but I'm going to give you numbers here today for you to be thinking about. All right, so let's take a look at some data. Last year in July was a historic month because that was the first month where streaming passed cable. Nobody thought it was going to happen, but it finally happened.
The first month? Really? There's until then there was more cable viewers than streaming viewers? That is crazy to me. Let me know in the comments below. Do you still have cable? That is crazy to me. That is insane.
However, look how dramatically the numbers changed from last July to today. We just got the report from Nielsen. I want to show this to you. Okay. This is last year. When you look at this data, it shows July 2022, cable, 34.4%. Wow. It's the purple line that you see there. And the blue, streaming, passed it up 34.8%.
Yeah, so looking at this, like streaming and cable, I mean, it has to be things like, you know, airports or restaurants and stuff. And then, of course, you know, you have things like sports and the news, which are going to be on cable, especially older people. But like, I am amazed that it remained this high for this long, and only just now is streaming bypassing that. That is insane to me.
Line that you see there, and the blue, streaming, passed it up 34.8%. However, if we go look at the Nielsen report that just came out last month, here's what you'll notice. Now you'll see streaming went from 34.8% to 38.7%, but cable dropped from 34.4% to 29.6%.
And I mean, you know, that's a reasonably big drop, but not really.
And on the streaming side, they got the top with YouTube, then Netflix, then Hulu, then Prime Video, then Disney, Max, Tubi, Peacock, Roku, Paramount, Pluto. The point is,
shout out to YouTube, #1, not only the #2 search engine in the world, the #1 place for people like you to see people like me. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the show.
You're no longer watching cable. So, in matter of fact, if I was to ask you right now, do you watch cable? You may say, I do. What do you watch on cable? You may say sports only.
Nope.
Exactly.
I'm a UFC guy. I go through the ESPN app. So that's streaming. I mean, I'll watch the Super Bowl. I'll watch the World Series, but I don't really watch any kind of sports.
There's 3 things that's holding cable from being done within seconds. One is people who watch sports. Number 2 is older people that watch news on CNN, Fox, MSNBC. These are people that like to consume their news from TV. But you know what the most important one is? Do you know what percentage of all cable TV advertising money comes from Big Pharma?
Okay, Big Pharma. Numbers. All right, everybody, let's do this together. So what percentage of, was it the percentage of the airtime or the
percentage of all cable TV advertising money comes from Big Pharma? What do you think?
So it was the money. It's not the airtime. What percentage of money is going into cable TV from the big pharma companies? I would have to say it's got to be at least 40%. It's got to be at least 40%. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.
I think is that percentage? You think it's 5%? You think it's 10%?
Hell no.
30? It's a big number. 40? 50? There's no way, Pat, it's 50. What if I told you, according to Statista, the number is 75%?
Whoa. Whoa. Now this makes a lot more sense why so many people were getting the jab. 75% of all money going into cable TV is big pharma advertising? Why? The only other country that allows this is New Zealand. Every other country in the world says this is illegal. But here, 75% of the money that goes in. Okay, so it's 75% of the advertising money, not 75. That's a little different. He made it seem like of all the money that goes into TV, 75% of it is big pharma. That would be crazy. So this makes a little bit more sense, but still, that's a lot.
Of the funding. Do you realize 2 countries are the only ones that allow big pharma to advertise? Us and New Zealand. If a president changed the law and said big pharma can no longer advertise,
which they absolutely should do,
on any kind of cable TV or streaming, cable TV would go out of business like this. At least 90% of them would disappear, because where would they get their money from? And all these guys that are paying $5, $10, $15 million, their salary is gone. They got to go figure out a way how to make the money on podcasting.
Exactly. Wow. That's such a crazy notion that one industry, and of course it's big pharma, so it's not just an industry, but they're taking up so much space there.
Insane number when you think about 75%, but let me continue with more data for you. So what you're looking at here is number of people paying for cable and how it's declining. And if you look at 2013, it's 100 million and a half. It stays steady, and then all of a sudden it goes to 90 million 2018. Then 2020, they have 78 million, but something happened called COVID, if you remember, because I know it was 3 years ago. It drops from 78 million to...
But looking forward, it goes up to all the way up to 2027, and less than half of all households predicted in 2027 will have cable. 65
million 2 years later. And now it's 60.5 million. And they're simply given a projection of what's going to be happening. They're being very nice to cable, how it's going to go from 60 to 56 to 53 to 50 to 47. But you get the idea. Now, meanwhile, look at OTT.
Wow.
OTT is over the top, like Netflix, Hulu, membership type of things. Look what it's done from 2017 till today. If you look at 2017, you'll see 72.59 billion. So it went from 72.59 billion to 2022, $260 billion. It's projected to be at around $400 billion by 2027. Again, this is not good news for cable.
Definitely not. I mean, you guys can definitely go check out the rest of the video, but let me know, are you still watching cable? Is it because, and this is not, throwing shade, but if you live with your parents, that makes a little bit more sense to me, because older people are kind of just stuck in their ways. I've talked to my parents about, like, hey, you can get all this stuff on YouTube, and not to mention I'm on YouTube. So maybe, but like, I get it. They have their TV, they have their bill, they just pay it every month, they can afford it, and it's whatever. And so I think that's a lot of people. And it makes sense that as those people not only unfortunately die off, but also some of those people are going to shift into streaming as it becomes better than cable. Not that it already isn't, but you know what I mean? There's still going to be those people that transfer over, but very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.